In case you've been keeping up with the OCG and TCG trends, you would actually know that an old card is seeing play again. And that card is Santa Claus, which is very similar to the Kaiju monsters, except for a few differences. First of all, it's a level 6 monster in case you want to pendulum summon it and then sync it off in Super Heavy Samurai. But most importantly, it summons itself on your opponent's field in defense position. And also, you can Santa Claus your opponent multiple times at once, whereas you can only really Kaiju your opponent once, and then you have to clear the Kaiju and then Kaiju again. So this makes drawing multiple Santa Claus an actual good thing, and also, it makes it so that it's really easy to go into a Zeus. So the weakest Kaiju monster is Gamma Seal, so if you only have, like, let's say an Xyz monster with 2000 or 2100 attack, you're not really going to be able to make a Zeus really easily because you need to be able to battle with the Gamma Seal and then still have an Xyz monster on the field if you want to turn it into a Zeus. With Santa Claus, however, even if your Xyz monster has 0 attack, you can still attack over the defense position Santa Claus, take a little bit of damage, and then make a Zeus and clear the whole board. It's really important to clear the board, by the way, because if the Santa Claus survives until the end phase, your opponent gets a draw. It's an activated effect that can only be triggered while Santa Claus is active on the field, so if you clear it, then there is no way your opponent can get draws. But imagine if you Santa Claus your opponent 3 times, and then your Zeus gets Veilered, and the Santa Claus survive until the end phase. In this case, it would no longer be Merry Christmas for you, but rather Merry Scoopmas. Now, what are the use cases for this card? I'm not gonna pretend like this card does billions of things that Kaiju monsters cannot do. It comes to obviously no surprise that this card performs extraordinarily well against cards like Expertly Noir or even Baguska. And even if your opponent doesn't summon any of these big boss monsters, if you draw multiple Santa Claus and your opponent makes a bunch of negates, you can just Santa Claus, and then play the game. It's only really bad if you draw it going first, but if you're playing it in a deck like, let's say, Purely, then you can just discard it with your 12 quick play spells, and you really don't have to care. If you run a bunch of low attack Xyz monsters in your extra deck, I want to say play this card over Kaijus any day of the week. And if you don't have any ways of discarding dead cards, you have to side deck this card instead of main decking it. But if you can discard cards for free and you don't really play high attack Xyz monsters, you absolutely have to main deck this card. I would even prioritize it over weak hand traps such as Ash this format. And this is the perfect definition of the kind of format where mixing both hand traps and board breakers at the same time really makes a lot of sense. Personally, I like to play cards like Drool, and then Gamma, and then Santa Claus, and then every other hand trap in a deck like, let's say, Purely, but of course, in any other deck, it might be different. Just don't try to play like 12 hand traps and completely ignore cards like Kaijus and Santa Claus, because then you might have issues against Expertly Noir. Another cool thing about Santa Claus is, of course, it's a monster just like the Kaiju monsters, so it can easily be searched with Small World if you're playing a deck that actually plays this card. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for this video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.